So yeah, if we're good to go ahead. Yeah, just thank you for agreeing to do this.
Yeah,
It's as I
absolutely,
said, it's
man.
only the second person that I've got down to it, and it's mainly the main thing that I wanted to do with this company wasn't just try and flog merch or whatever, or sort of get a bunch of followers on Instagram. I wanted to try and reach out to people and talk to them about what it's like to be sober, and because it's something that, although I have a large group of friends and family that have helped me through it, I was the only one at the time that was going through sobriety. None of my friends that I'm with now ever really drank the drugs. That have the occasional drink, but it's not something that they were really involved with heavily. As another side of friends that I had that were like my drinking buddies, basically. I live with a couple of them every now and I sort of on and off throughout that time, but it was just me that was experiencing that. So I found that reaching out to other people at the time who, had experienced sobriety or had experienced some sort of issue with alcohol or drugs, they knew what it was like. They knew what it was like to try and experience, the difficulties of addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, I mean, I guess just to get into it, it was a work thing for me.
Mhm.
I worked in the cannabis industry for most of my 20s. I'm 32 now. And then towards the end of my 20s, I ended up changing careers and I moved from making cannabis concentrates to brewing beer. So I had been in substance
Oh, you're
creation
really in it
roles.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in substance creation roles the entire time I was an adult.
Mm.
So it really just became like a cultural thing for me. So I fell in love with cannabis when I was a teenager and everything
Mm.
like that. Here in the United States, it wasn't quite legal yet. Yeah, I just wanted to be on the forefront of that entire situation. So when I turned 21, I ended up moving out from Virginia Beach, Virginia, out to Colorado.
Yeah,
And
it was very legal in Colorado, wasn't it? One of the first
so
states.
yeah, so I moved out there the same year that they went recreationally legal. They had been medically legal for years before that,
Yeah.
but I just so happened to be the age that was the minimum requirement to be working in the industry and everything. So I ended up moving out there because I was like, man, if I'm going to do this, I'm not trying to get in trouble or anything like that. And yeah, I hit the ground running when I got out there. I started out like just super simple. I was like packaging and trimming weed and stuff like that, and just putting edibles inside of jars and stuff. But it quickly accelerated for me. And then I started making cannabis concentrates, so like vape pens, the oil that was required to actually make edibles and stuff like that, and everything. And then I was working in a lab, and I was really young and super inexperienced. I just had a group of people that were like willing, because I was so passionate about it, they were
Yeah.
willing to give me a go. So I really got um, like slingshot, like my career and everything like
Mm.
that. But um, I was really topping out when it came to pay and everything like that pretty quickly, and I was at the time like very, very ambitious about making money, and I quickly started to notice that the people that were making the most money were in sales.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's where I ended up jumping. I would still do extraction and everything, but the type of extraction we were doing, you kind of like set the machine up and then you would just have to wait. So basically, I would come in the morning and I would set the machine up and everything, and then from there, I would go out on the road with another sales rep that like kind of took me under his wing and everything like that. And that's like when the heavy like overconsumption like work culture started to begin for me
Yeah, because
at
if
the
you're
age of 21.
yeah, you can't escape it at that point, can you? If it's what you're doing for a living, you're heavily influenced into it. You're dealing with it for most, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, 12 hours a day. It's there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was super duper fun at first. I mean, I was at the forefront of like a new industry and stuff like that. I was making really good money for somebody that was in their early 20s. I mean, I ended up like doing very well in the sales role, and I moved around from company to company like throughout my 20s, like just getting more and more and more pay, like, and it felt really good. But there was a point probably like in my mid 20s, I would say, to my late 20s that just all of a sudden one day I started waking up and I would smoke and I would just start to have anxiety, like really, really badly from it. And I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah,
And
that's all. And it was just like an overnight thing. It just happened.
yeah, honestly, I just woke up one day and like I had smoked and like I just started having panic attacks from it and everything. And the thought of like being able to go out and like do sales and stuff like that at the same time as feeling that like overwhelming anxiety feeling was just insanely intense for me. And I pushed through it for years. I like kept doing the job and everything, but eventually it just like burned me out.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I've tried one or two sales jobs myself, and they're pretty
Yeah.
difficult, pretty difficult as it is. But in a brand new, exciting and pretty, I should expect a pretty fierce competition market, considering what it was and how new it was, and it was just all of a sudden happened. I would expect there was a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was always the worst part about being a sales rep. Like, I wasn't really working on a team or anything like that. I was like just their guy that did
Mm.
everything. Like, I would deliver the packages, meet with the clients, handle any of their concerns, do pop-ups, stuff like that. So, like, just a lot of pressure because I'm the dude that's like keeping the lights on. I'm paying the salaries of the people that are in the lab, things of that nature. So it just like all fell on me. And yeah, that pressure it definitely built up and built up for a while. So I think there was a combination there of like that's why I wasn't getting any benefit out of cannabis anymore. I was just like in that loop where I was like, I gotta smoke with my clients. Like that's what they want to do and
Oh,
everything.
yeah. So I didn't even think about that. It's they're testing the product when they get it. They've got to see what it's like, and and it is that industry. Everyone's a little more laid back and a little more chilled. And like in the UK, we would go for a drink at lunch with a client if we're trying to sell something, or a lunch meeting would have one or two beers or a bottle of wine around the table. But for you in that industry, it's oh no, smoke it up. Every
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just eventually got to the point where like the anxiety was too high after a couple of years of work and I ended up moving from Boulder, Colorado down to Castle Rock, Colorado. And yeah, it was like a big transition. I went from like a hippie town to more of like a military town,
Mhm.
and they just weren't into cannabis whatsoever. And like my identity when it came to cannabis like was pretty non-existent down there. I did work in the industry for a bit while I lived there, but I like slowly like moved out of that, and that's when I ended up starting working for a brewery because there was just an opportunity for me, and I did the same thing I did in the cannabis industry. I started from the bottom. I started as a just a bartender,
Yeah.
and then from there I worked my way into sales
Mm.
actually. So I used my experience and leveraged into that. And then by the end of it, I was starting to learn how to brew beer, everything, which is probably the hardest job I have ever attempted in my life. Like I know by any means even got close to like mastering the process. It was there was just so much to it. It was insane. Like in the cannabis industry, you're just like dialing in, like you're just making THC. That's all you're
Yeah.
doing. Like there isn't a whole lot to it besides that. With the brewing, I mean, there's just so many steps involved and everything like that. And yeah, that's kind of the transition that I went through from my late 20s into my early 30s. I was always into craft beer. I drank it all the time, but at the time I would say I was still like the I'm gonna have like a bunch at one time every once in a while hanging out with friends and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
once the actual brewery job came along, I'm sure you can connect the dots with the same thing with the cannabis sales as beer sales. Now I'm dropping off samples. People want to drink all the time, so
Yeah.
that
And
was
were you
definitely a
getting like
big struggle for me.
freebies from customers and things, and like stuff that you like people you're handing out? They're just like, oh, have this, take this, try this new one.
Oh, totally. I mean, and it was all about like that relationship building, you know. I'm like people connect over alcohol. So it was like you would go to accounts and they would be like, "Hey, sit down and have a beer with me." And it's like, "Shit. I got 12 other people I gotta meet
Oh,
up with today." You
yeah.
know, I'm like the drinking and driving culture is just out of control in the industry. It's just mind-blowing to me. And like it was just something that I was always weary about. I would participate, but I would always throttle. Like they would be like, "All right, now let's have another one," and I'd be like, "No, no, 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 absolutely not, man. I'm
But
driving a company vehicle right now. This is not going to work for me."
see, that's not something that, because luckily, I didn't learn to drive until I'd gotten sober because I was too busy drinking and taking, being wrecked all the time. I didn't even think about that. So even though they know that you're working and you're representing, a company, you're representing yourself, you're going to meet clients, they would still be fine with you drinking and driving.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like the culture is really you should know your limits and everything like that. But the reality is that when you're taking a breathalyzer, like your limits are whatever the state or the
Yeah, like,
country has mandated, you know what I mean?
and everyone always says, "Oh, I'm fine to drive on this and that," and I can have three or four of these or whatever and still be fine to drive. But yeah, like legally, medically, like it's just dangerous to even have the one and think, "Oh, I'm going to drive anyway," because it'll impair even the slightest, no matter what. Your reaction speeds are drop, and they're all cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, I got into a habit of those particular clients that wanted to drink with me and everything. I would make sure it was a lunch meeting like you were talking about, and I
Mm.
would order the beer first, made sure it came, and then I would drink that with them, and then I would make sure I ate like a boatload of food, like sat there for like the entire meeting and everything. So at least an hour would be going by after just having one,
Yeah.
because I was just far too paranoid to, I didn't want to get a DUI out here or anything like that.
Did that ever happen, or were you quite lucky with that?
I ended up being lucky with that, like
Yeah,
pretty much my entire like career and everything. So that was
that's
something I
good to
was
hear.
blessed that I never ended up actually in any sort of trouble. Honestly, I've never been in any trouble before in my life because I've just been
That's
so careful about how I approach it and everything.
so. How did? Because I know that you said you've recently started a new job. It was this week, wasn't it? That you've just started your new role.
So I actually am starting a new job here in about 2 hours and
Hmm.
15 minutes.
That was your first day today,
So
isn't it?
yeah, first day
Nice,
today,
man.
so I'm going to be going in for training like right after this.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
How did it progress from? Let's say you worked in the weed industry, and then you moved down to a different area where it wasn't so big, and you started working in the brewery and the alcohol industry. How long have you been out of it?
So I've been out of it now for about 4.5 months, pretty much ever since I started getting sober and everything.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving the brewery that I was at around, hmm, I would say sometime like at the end of the spring, towards the beginning of the summer,
Hmm?
is when I ended up leaving. I tried to start my own little tap line business, cleaning business and everything. That didn't work out for me, and like I wasn't really passionate about it. But yeah, really the main reason I ended up like completely stopping drinking and smoking weed was because I had started a separation with my wife, which has now led to us we're doing a divorce and everything like
No, I'm
that.
sorry,
And
man.
oh, I appreciate it, man. Stuff happens, people grow apart. But yeah, basically, when I had started my separation and everything, I was like, I'm gonna get my mental health like in check. I'm gonna make sure that I am gonna be the best person I possibly can be.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wasn't gonna consume anything anymore at the start of that because I just didn't think it was gonna be productive whatsoever, like throughout a separation. Like me just drinking my sorrows away, smoking my sorrows away, whatever it might have
Yeah.
been.
I mean, yeah, I get that because in a situation like that where your mental health is down as it is, to add something like constantly drinking or smoking, just to add another chemical into that, it's yeah. I think you made the smartest decision there to just cut
Yeah,
it.
it absolutely ended up being the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I mean, the first couple of months, and even to this day, I'm still struggling with it. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie. I mean, basically like how it's developed is, man, when you have that vice and you're leaning on that your entire life and everything, once you take that away and you're feeling like emotions,
Mhm.
I'm like, man, my serotonin and my dopamine was like gone for the first couple of months.
Yeah,
Like I started to struggle with anxiety and depression.
yeah. Oh no, I totally get that. Yeah, because I don't. Did you just cut it out completely? Did you sort of slowly degrade it out, or were you just like, no, I'm done?
I cold turkeyed it. It
Yeah.
was even doctors told me I should not have done that. Like after I told them the consumption level I was at, because being in the beer industry, it was more like I took 1 or 2 days off and I drank all the rest of the other days. So I definitely was entering that realm where like it was in my system like pretty much all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, I did like sober stints and stuff like that and everything, but I knew that the level that I was at, like it was just going to progressively become more of a problem.
Yeah, other than that, you're just constantly sort of maintaining a standard blood alcohol level.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I get it. I was Sam. I went cold turkey, and yeah, had warnings from doctors like, you're drinking X amount, and see, because weed was never really my thing. I didn't really like the taste. But mine was like opiates, and like sort of like like proper like sort of painkiller medication. But and then yeah, when I had that up to my, basically, I had a partner who said you can either be with me or you can keep taking stuff. But other than that, I'm done. If you want to keep using, so I did the same. Went cold turkey overnight. The first couple of days, you're like, oh, this is great. This is easy. I can do this because you've still got it in your system. You're still
Yep.
reeling off of that, and then a week or so in, that's when it hits.
Yeah, man, and when it hits like a freight train. Like I'd never experienced. I mean, I've gotten sad before in my life. I've gotten like upset and things of that nature, but it hit me like a ton of bricks, man.
Yeah.
I could not control my emotions whatsoever. Like, and it was just I'm totally relearning like how to regulate my emotions right now and everything, which is it's been hard, but it's been very, very rewarding.
No, I'm good. I'm glad that you've seen the positive side. And it's strange because two things that you said there are things that the way that I would say, I'd always say that it hits like a freight train. You're not expecting it, and then you're around the corner one day, and then bam, you're on your ass. It's hideous. And same, I had to relearn how to have emotions, how to think, how to feel. It was so difficult to do because we either numbed them out. If we were feeling sad, we didn't want to feel sad. Right, let's get wrecked. Or if we're happy, how are we going to celebrate? Get the beers, get the drinks in.
Yep.
Let's all get toasted. It's going to be, and I had to equate emotions to some kind of chemical abuse. Some sort of chemical substance had to be in my system to learn how to celebrate because, well, I can't do it without it. How can I have fun and be fun around other people if I don't have alcohol in me, or if I've not taken these drugs, or some of my friends smoked a lot of weed? Fine, I'll join in. I don't really like it, but it's there. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, when you get bad news, when you're sad, you're having a down day. What do? Right, I'll just have some drinks and I'll drown it out. But yeah, so like you said, having to learn to emote again, it's like going through a second puberty because it was that messed up in your head. It alters your brain chemistry. It's very, yeah. It's strange that you've said that because I've never heard anyone say it in the same way that I would describe it.
Yeah, I mean, I the way I think about it all the time is I feel like I basically like ended up becoming a young teenager again. Like I'm
Hmm.
learning how to feel like all these new emotions like all over again. Like I'm in fresh in grade school and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just absolutely wild to me. But you know, at the end of the day, like I know that it's all about patience. Like a lot of people, like you said, that first couple of days are like, man, I feel fantastic. I'm gonna get over this so quick and everything. And it's like, no, you're gonna have your ups and downs,
guess
man.
again. Yeah.
But for me, what was just very helpful, I'm not really big into like AA and stuff like that, but
Mm,
group therapy has been like very beneficial for me.
that's cool. Because similar, I tried because I nearly relapsed a couple of years back when I was at a different job. I was working in a prison, helping people with a similar sort of thing that we're doing now. I was, talking to them and trying to help get them what they needed and try and support because while they're in prison, um, they don't have, they're not going to have access to anything. So we try and use that as an opportunity to talk to them about their problems or their addictions because a lot of them have got some really shit backgrounds. But see, I had to go to AA through my work, or was it? It was AA or NA, one of the two. um,
Yeah.
I had to go through it through my work because they said, look, you got close to relapsing. You've told us about it. You've been honest. You haven't actually used yet. Because if I had, they would have just fired me on the spot. But I tried NA, and for me, I just couldn't. I couldn't get into it because I felt like it took the ownership away from me. I was the one doing these things. I was responsible. I was putting the bottle to my lips. I was taking this. I was taking that. And I felt like that took the ownership away. But talking about it in groups, sharing the load, but still being able to admit being at fault. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody has their own journey that they're going through and everything. And I mean, for me, again, I'm only 4.5 months in, but
Hmm.
I have had so much hatred for the situations that both weed and beer put me in for so long that like I'm still in the mindset that I'm like absolutely not. I don't want. I'm not having any cravings whatsoever. I mean, there were points when I was like super depressed, like I was having very visceral physical symptoms is what I was dealing with.
Yeah,
So like fatigue, like racing heart, things of that nature, just racing thoughts, things like
yeah,
that. I mean, there were definitely moments when I was in the deepest part of the depression that I was thinking about it. I was like, man, now I'm on medication instead of just drinking. Now I've just gone from one drug to another. But at the end of the day, you're being monitored by a doctor. Like they can
yeah.
actually like
And the
dial in
drugs,
the dosage and stuff like that and everything.
yeah, and the drugs that you're putting in your system are there to help. It's not something to cover up. It's something that in theory, is going to lead to like increased serotonin levels, and it's something that's going to help. I mean, but yeah, I mean, such a long time ago for me now that the point that you're at, the 4.5 months, that I can only just sort of really remember. But the like you said, the physical part was something I didn't expect. Like the physical aches, the pains, the difficulty trying to sleep again. I don't know if you've had that, but I had sleepless nights where I was constantly awake because I didn't know how to go to sleep unless I'd had a couple of beers or I was toasted, and I had to relearn that, similar to relearning emotions. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's the number one thing that I'm still struggling with,
mhm,
but it doesn't seem to be affecting me nearly as much at the beginning. I mean, the
good.
insomnia hit on just like a whole nother level, man. I mean, just up all night thinking, like trying to do stuff, and then next thing you know, the sun's coming up, and you're like, oh, Jesus, I never even slept.
Yeah, get back up, go back to work, trying to go to work after being on your feet or awake for 36, 42, 48 hours.
Yeah, and I commend you for working, man, because I absolutely could not work when I was going through the
No,
experience that I was going. I like couldn't scoop myself out of bed at first. Like it was just a constant struggle to even get
it's
up.
it's a little bit. I mean, it's different for everyone, but I mean, I was quite lucky because when I got clean, I was with my partner. She was there. She knew what it was going to be like. But to throw in the fact that you've had to go through a separation and a divorce at the same time as these first, not even 6 months, like, yeah, that's a hell of a thing that you're going through, and I think you're doing so well to
I
to
appreciate that.
meet you. Think about it. You've got this far. 4.5 months in, nearly 5 months in. In let's say in another 6 weeks, you're going to be half a year clean.
Yeah.
Like, when you think back to the first couple of days, the first few weeks when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. What's it going to be like? How hard is it going to be? And in just a few weeks' time, you're going to be 6 months clean. And yes, okay, you've really had to go through some horrible stuff. It's never good when a relationship breakdown happened, but you didn't let that change the fact that you had made this choice of something needs to change. I need to stop doing this. I need to clean, or I need to reduce, or you've made that whole choice and you have still stuck to it. And I think that's
Yeah.
commendable.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of myself. Like this is
Good.
for me, this is like I'm breaking like very generational habits and stuff like that. I mean, everybody in my family drinks for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
to different degrees, but it's just I'm the first person that went from like 100% being into it to
Mhm.
like zero into it, which I'm really hopeful for the future. And I've like really dove into the sober community, and they've like helped me out like quite a bit with it.
Yeah, because I mean that's how we got in contact. Seeing that sober community online, I never realized it's quite big on things like Instagram. The sober community seems to be quite popular on there. How did you fall into that through your connections through craft brewery? Because I know that you seem to be reviewing a lot of drinks. Are you getting them like sent to you from old connections or?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of these companies, I've just been like showing them like how I do my posts and stuff like that and
Mhm.
everything, and a lot of them have been extremely generous. I mean, I appreciate the support. I mean, uh, there's even companies like Rationale. Like I opened up my box and it had like a QR code in it for 1 month of free therapy. Like it's just mind blowing how
Sweet.
this community is just like constantly like just trying to make it better. And I
Mm,
mean, there's some breweries that they're still doing traditional beer and they're doing their NA versions, and I think it's great that they're giving people the option to be able to sustain completely when they're out if they want to, or I mean, even something that I am a big person that I talk about is zebra striping. I don't know if you've heard that term
is
before.
that the one time when you go out, you'll have a couple of beers, and then the next time you'll drink either soft drinks or NA, and then the next time you go out, you're happy to drink again? Is it that sort of approach, or?
So close, basically, you do it in the same night. So when you
Okay.
go up to the bar, you get yourself like a real traditional beer, and then the next time you go up, you get yourself an NA beer. So you're really
Ah,
spacing out how much alcohol is flowing through your system throughout the night, so
yeah,
you don't end up nearly as intoxicated.
that's a great approach. And for people who are looking to try and reduce, or they're still wanting to be conscious of health or something like that, that's a great way to do it. It's not something I've heard of before, but yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and I mean, I totally understand that some people they can't be around like the taste of beer, the smell of
Mhm.
beer, things of that nature. I know everybody's journey is different, but for me, my identity was so attached to the flavor of alcohol that that's the only thing that I was constantly missing. I was like, man, I really want to taste some hops right now, some malt, like whatever it might be. So
Yeah.
that's why I ended up throwing myself. When I started my Instagram profile, I was like, this is just going to be a page dedicated to showcasing. Like,
Mhm.
there's tons of people out there that are reviewing NA beer, and I wanted to approach it differently. I wanted to showcase the beer to like explain to people like what it tastes like and where they can get it and things of that nature, instead of like just sitting there picking it apart and seeing like how well made it is and stuff like that. Because over the years, being a beer nerd, I've noticed that a lot of people are like they're not like that. They prefer to just try it and it's a yes or a no. Like
Yeah, and that was something that I'd always missed, because when I first gave up, I started drinking like sort of fancier soft drinks that you can get at like pubs and bars in the UK, and then I just tried things like Coke and other soft drinks. But it was always that when I drank, I didn't just enjoy the drinking and the taste. I would talk to, go to a bar and, oh, we've got guest ales on, or I've got guest beers. I would want to talk to the guys behind the bar staff of, what's this one? How is it made? What brew is it from? Did they use these hops when Citra hops started becoming a big thing? I love to learn about it. I like the way that it's produced, the taste, different, like even different. Sounds weird, different textures in different beers. When you're drinking it, it feels a little different in your mouth. I loved that, and I missed it when I had to give up alcohol, because it wasn't just I'm drinking to get drunk, because then I could just drink any cheap tat, but it was something that I enjoyed, because, like you, I come from a family of big drinkers, and there was always this different selection or this different taste, and it was something I loved. So yeah, like the fact that these companies are now bringing out NA options for us all to try, it's one I think it's wonderful.
yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, we're at the forefront of this industry right now, and it's only going to go up from here.
Mhm.
And the quality level has significantly improved. I remember trying NA beer like 3 years ago, and I was like, "Oh God, this is like undrinkable. This is awful." And
Yeah,
now I have so much that I'm reviewing that I'm so behind. Like, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to catch up at the rate in which these companies are popping up and interacting with me and sending me samples at this point. So
that's cool.
it's been really awesome.
Oh, that's good, because there's quite because ironically, Colorado is one of the state. Me and my partner, we already said that if we were going to ever to move to any state, where would it be? Um, and I love Boulder. There's a runner on YouTube that I used to watch and follow, and he used to do like a lot of ultra marathons and everything. And he was from Boulder, and to me, it just looked beautiful. It looked incredible, and I knew that there was a very big craft brewery scene within Colorado and Boulder. That people There was a lot of like little microbreweries that were popping up in really small independent teams. So you're quite lucky in your state, I would think, to have all this selection of small areas.
Yeah, and I absolutely took advantage of that scene over the years. But ever since I actually got sober, I actually moved out to New Jersey. I'm on the East Coast
Oh, you're in
now.
Jersey now.
Not yeah, not in Colorado anymore. Wanted a fresh start.
Mm.
Wanted to just have a place where I could like buckle down. And my bunch of my family's from out here, so I had an opportunity to move in and
Oh,
not
okay,
have to worry about bills and things of that nature while I'm getting on my feet and
that's
everything.
good.
So that was great. Um, but yeah, Denver definitely has their scene. I wasn't a part of it at the time when I was drinking NA, but since I've been out here, like the scene has been just absolutely awesome. I mean, we have big events. I just went to one up in Manhattan in New York. It was drinks with benefits, so everything there is either non-alcoholic or it's like low dose THC stuff, and
Mm.
then like nootropics and things of that nature. So that festival was awesome. I mean, there were tons and tons of vendors there, like got to learn a bunch and everything. And then there's just like a lot of other cool people in the area. I mean, I've got like five or so non-alcoholic bars within 30-minute drive of me right now that
That's
I can
cool.
actually go and sit down and be around people that are sober conscious. I mean, we've got bottle shops. That's where I'm actually working right now. Shout out to Jem in Pittman. And then, yeah, I mean, I've just connected with some people. Another shout out is NA Beer Club. My boy Tyler over there, he's got a subscription box that gets sent to your house, and you can constantly get new flavors and everything. And yeah, it's just amazing where this entire industry is going right now, and I'm super excited to be at the forefront of it.
That's cool. And like you're right, yeah, we really are at the right sort of stage. In the UK, it's going crazy. My partner works in food and drink, and they expect within the next 10 to 15 years for NA beers to be 20 to 25% of sales. Because the latest generation, the younger kids from like sort of 18, 19 onwards in the UK are becoming so health conscious and just not wanting to drink alcohol. Okay, they might want something else like THC vape pens or whatever, or they're using CBD drinks, but they're just not consuming alcohol anymore.
Yeah, out here in the U.S., that this isn't a perfect quote of statistics, but I've heard it's dropped like significantly out here as well. Like the new generation of kids that normally would be consuming are just they're not. They're into other things, like you said.
Yeah, it's I think it's wonderful, because back when, I mean, I'm 35. Back when I was drinking, especially in the UK, and then I'm sure, yeah, everyone's heard of the UK drinking culture. It's our national sport. Um, that from, I mean, I started drinking at around the age of 14, 15 because I came from a family of big drinkers. There was always alcohol that I could steal or could convince someone else that I knew, their older brother, to go and buy it for us. But if you didn't, you weren't drinking at like house parties at 16, 17, there's something wrong with you. Why aren't you doing this? Why everyone drinks? Why don't you take part? Why aren't you doing that? So I love seeing that, 20 years down the line, my daughter's generation aren't particularly worried about drinking that much. They might have one night out a month where they, it's payday, well, let's go out and celebrate, or they'll have someone's birthday, let's have a little bit of drink. But it's not, oh, it's Thursday night, it's Friday night, it's Saturday night. What are we going to do? Oh, let's get drunk. Because that's what
Yeah.
I was doing. That's what the people in my age were doing. I mean, hell, even me and my friends when we were in high school, we used to sneak alcohol into school if we could, because it was seen as funny. It was, oh, we've managed to sneak it in what people think is a water bottle, but it's actually full of vodka. But
Oh, jeez.
I know, right?
I'm like everybody was in the smoking when I was in high school. Not a lot of drinking going on.
I guess because yeah, the age limit is a little higher up there, and but yeah, in the UK it was nuts. But yeah, I just love that the younger generation just really aren't, and I know that some of them are. I mean, especially sort of your side of things. There's a lot where it's certain states have made, like have made THC and weed legal, and it's a little different, like your gummies and everything that's available to you. But that's, again, it's regulated. It's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I
I
don't need
mean,
to talk to you. I don't need to preach to the choir.
yeah.
You're from the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even so, like being on the drink side of it is been a new experience for me because the the people that are into like drinking it are they're way more health conscious, to be totally honest with
Hmm.
you. Like they're way more into like lower dosages and things of that nature, where it's like they're 2.5 milligrams to like 10 at like the absolute most. Whereas when I was in Colorado, I mean, people were chasing these 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 500 milligram like gummies, candies, all sorts of things, and it like they were just taking it way too far, like and just using way too much, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's a crazy amount.
Yeah, yeah, almost looking for like psychedelic experiences from weed instead of looking to just relax.
Yeah, and see, because I've tried some of these CBD drinks. I know that it's not THC, so it's not the active part, and it's not going to get me high, but I have felt the effects. I mean, it took a little while to kick in for me, but there was that relaxed atmosphere that I felt from it.
Yeah, and I've had similar experiences as well using the different cannabinoids that are non-psychoactive.
Mm,
And I think that it's funny because there's nootropics, and then people are like, and then there's weed drinks, and I'm like, they're all supposed to be health beneficial type of drinks and stuff like that. So I think eventually they're both going to cross worlds and probably be in the same category and everything.
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I haven't gotten so much into any of that stuff that like alters your like feeling, because right now I'm like really enjoying just sitting in it, like, and just like being completely sober. Now, I will say that when I drink some of my heavier hop load beers, I've noticed some relaxation coming on. And from the research I've done, there's certain compounds inside of hops that actually can relax you as well.
That's
So,
cool. So yeah,
yeah.
so you beat me to the. I was going to ask: is it something that naturally occurs, or do you think it's like a placebo effect? You're drinking these beers, and because you're used to having that reaction of I'm drinking a beer, I'm chilled, I'm relaxed. Do you find that happens naturally anyway?
So yes, I think that I think the placebo effect absolutely exists. I have noticed now that I've been trying the NA beers for a while that I'm definitely getting more of a relaxation off the IPAs, but that could also be a placebo effect as well, because hazy IPAs were my jam
Hmm.
when I was a big drinker. So I'm like getting super excited about the flavor profiles, and that's enough to like get my brain to be like, oh, this is awesome, this is cool.
Yeah. No, I totally
But
get that. Like when how we started talking was when I put up that post about which one I wanted to try, and I tried that the hazy IPA by Napier. It was incredible, and so was the. I don't know if you've tried a company called Ampersand make something they call hop water, which is not a beer. It's infused water. It's
yeah,
not in the brewing process. But when I had that hazy IPA by Napier, it was that because again, I love an IPA. I love hazy drinks. Like it's got certain fruit. The hops I think again were citra hops that taste quite fruity, and that's what I liked. And just having that, although I know there was no alcohol in it, it was a relaxing action for me because it was something that I enjoy. It's something that I like the taste of it. I was, reading the side of the can, looking at it, waiting for the taste to change as I drank it.
yeah, that's the most fun part of it for me, is like just sitting there and just going back into that ritual and that mindset of like, hey, I can sit down and I can like analyze this beer, and like you said, as the temperature changes, like getting to enjoy different flavor profiles unlocking
Mm.
and stuff. It makes it so you can still enjoy the process without any of the negatives, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's what I love about non-alcoholic drinks. I've looked at some of the other things like the spirits, like there's whiskeys and other options. I've not tried any yet because I still don't know if the science behind it is quite there because it's difficult to make a non-alcoholic whiskey because all it is just spicy water, really.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you that I've tried quite a few at this point, and
Yeah.
it there are ones that are really starting to get close, particularly whiskeys for me, because when I did consume liquor, which was very rarely, I always wanted bourbon.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, just looking for that smokiness, that barrel character, and then like you said, like they're adding capsaicin as like to like create the burn effect when you're drinking it as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, Is it just going to be spicy? But they actually are adding just the right amount so that it feels more like a burn on your gums and your throat like it used to be.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I think that all of these things are amazing personally. They're just making it so that people can continue the culture and get rid of like all of the negative parts of it and
yeah,
everything.
and that's great to hear. But I say with the negative parts, do you sort of just spinning back a little, where you've said that you're similar to me? I come from a family where everyone drank. It was what we did. It was who we were. It's um, my dad was a big drinker. He was in the military, so it was something that was just done. Um, have you had any sort of negative feedback from family at all? I know you said that you've moved down to Jersey with some family. Have you had anyone that's been like, oh, Patrick, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you doing this? Or have they been supportive through and through? If that's okay to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as like my pops, for example, like he's a drinker. That's what he does to relax and everything. He's
Mm,
also a pot smoker. I think that it more came like a shock to
mm,
my family more than anything else because of what I had been doing for a living my entire life. They were like,
yeah.
you're gonna give up your entire identity, like what people think of you and stuff like that. And I was like, honestly, I've found a way to be able to not give up my identity, but just change my habits and everything like that. And I've definitely gotten support from my family. They definitely were thrown for a loop at the beginning of the process and everything like that. Um, but yeah, my family out here in New Jersey that I'm staying with right now, they've been extremely supportive. I mean, at the beginning stages and stuff like that, they were gracious enough to like we when we would go out to eat, we would just go to like a place that just had like food and that's it. Like
Yeah,
make sure there's no bar around or anything like that, not
that's
having to
cool.
stare at people ordering drinks and things of that nature.
That's
And I honestly I don't have a problem with it. I think that you just have to learn how to consume responsibly. Like, I
mm.
definitely don't want to be around anybody that's getting shit-faced anymore.
No.
That's yeah. But I don't particularly have a problem with anybody that wants to consume as long as they're doing it responsibly. I don't know how to have just one, so I
Yeah.
have none.
I see. I think that's anyone that I've spoken to, like anyone that I know that's gone sober. There's a few people I speak to online. The overarching thing is of yeah, we don't know how to have a single beer. If we knew how to have a single beer, we wouldn't be in this predicament. We wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't be having to go sober and do X, Y, and Z because it wouldn't be a problem if we could just have just the one.
Yeah. And for me, it was just constantly like you were talking about chasing like new flavors and new hops. And I mean, between New Zealand and the Pacific Northwest in the US, I mean, like there's just unlimited stuff for you to be able to try. And that's the type of drinker that I was. Is the issue is I would do like bottle shares and hang out with other friends that were having bottle shares, and it's like everybody shows up with 15 flavors, and next thing you know, we got a whole festival inside the kitchen. And you want to try like at least like a couple ounce pour of everything, and then man, the hangovers the next day after we would do that, like
After the next thing, yeah,
yeah, it's like you're having that couple of hours of fun, but then it just knocks you out for 48 hours, and it's just not something I'm like trying to experience anymore, especially now that I'm in my 30s. I don't have any like serious health problems, but I have enough health problems now at this point that I'm just like I don't need to add anything on
God
top
no.
of it.
Have you, so going off of that, have you noticed any changes in any health problems? Anything that you like? Because for me, my skin cleared up really quickly. It was one of the first things I noticed. I didn't have that blotchy, yellowy skin. Like I used to have these massive, like yellow and black bags under my eyes. My skin was a horrible, weird color. I looked like a Simpson on my worst days.
Oh no. To be totally honest with you, I think I'm still in the phase where my body is still readjusting and
Yeah.
everything. So I've actually been dealing with like a lot of fatigue problems. Like I haven't seen a whole lot of the benefit of like, oh, you're not a drinker now, and like all these like super awesome things are starting to like
Mm.
happen. But I definitely think that they will happen over
Oh,
time. It's
100%. You've got so
yeah.
much coming to look forward to.
Yeah, but at the moment right now, I'm definitely feeling more fatigued than I ever
Mhm.
have been in my entire life. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've been able to like just start over with it. It comes with the mental clarity because I think that it's given me the opportunity to feel my feelings and
Yeah.
just work through them and
It's,
everything like that instead of
yeah.
just suppress over and over again.
Yeah, like we said at the start, you're learning to feel again, and it's as horrible as it is. It's so exciting and such a privilege to be able to get to actually experience these and to be human and to interact with people on a real level instead of just masking it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, it is funny to me like how much it can affect you even when you're not drinking. I guess the way I want to word it is when you're looking forward to being able to drink versus you're not drinking at all is it's definitely an interesting situation when I mean, I went through the phase of I was just like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, but I feel like my body betrayed me at first. And yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I mean, everybody has their own experiences, but something universal that I've talked to a lot of people that has said is that they just get really emotional, like right at the beginning phase and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, no, I had that, and like I ended up going to like therapy with it, and it was just as soon as I started talking to my therapist about everything, just came out. It was uncontrollable, like heavy sobbing and wheezing every single week when I was there because I couldn't regulate it, and I hadn't been able to speak about these things for so long that it just came instead of being like that Mean Girls quote, instead of vomit, it was word vomit. It was just out, out, and out, and out, and out, and I couldn't control having to spill this out of me because I'd never been able to, and it was just constant.
I absolutely experienced something very similar. I mean, anytime I got an opportunity to talk to somebody, it would just word vomit, like you said, like all of it would just come to the surface like instantly. I'm certainly getting better about it, but the fact that I'm doing it in a controlled environment now is just extremely beneficial.
Cool. It has. It's been lovely. It's weird. We've had a very, very similar experience with everything that that we've gone through, with some of the feelings that we've had, some of the opportunities that we've tried, and the reasons why we're doing it, and alternatives that we've looked at. Um, but yeah, before we disappear, is there anything that you'd like to say to anyone that is thinking of getting clean, or if they are similar to yourself, they've just started, if they're maybe they're weeks in, anything that you'd want to say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would have two parts for that. Anybody that's thinking about it, like if you've had any sort of doubt about whether or not you should be doing it whatsoever, I think that's your key sign. Like for anybody, any age, any culture, like if you feel like you're not happy doing it anymore and you're having that cultural pressure,
Mm,
just absolutely go for it. Like it is hard. Not gonna lie about that whatsoever,
yeah,
but go for it. Like absolutely go for it. I think that in the long run you will absolutely come out the other side a much better person for it. I don't think anybody in the history of time has ever said that I regret stopping drinking when they get far into their
no,
sobriety.
I can't see that.
Yeah. And then the other half would be for people that are at the beginning stages, just be patient with yourself. I mean,
Hmm.
time is got to be the most crucial thing when you start out and everything. You're not superhuman. It's not going to happen like super quickly. You
No,
got to be patient with yourself. You got to do things at your pace. Like, don't compare yourself to others. Some people are gonna have an easier time, and there's people out there that are gonna have a worse time. And I also think, like we were talking about before, when it comes to like, if you think you've got it in you to cold turkey, I mean, it's always your decision, but definitely like take it slow, take it
yeah,
easy, like definitely reduce and stuff like that because yeah, my experience, it shot me out of a cannon. It was,
Yeah,
it
cold
was
turkey is a
something.
hell of a ride, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's a totally different thing. I'm probably progressing faster than I would if I did it slowly, but at the end of the day, you don't want to break yourself mentally.
No, it's cold turkey isn't for some. Like I say, slowing down first is something I probably should have done, but it was all or nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great talking to you, man.
it's you too. Sweet. Huge
Yeah,
congratulations to you again, man. I really think you should, yeah, to really celebrate it. Take even just today to take a minute just to reflect on yourself and to think and to congratulate yourself, sort of one on one, because it's not something that's ever going to be easy. It is a horrible thing to do, but I think you've done great. And yeah, and I look forward to seeing it continue.
yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, and congratulations on your continued success with
Thank you,
sobriety
man.
as well.
Thank you. Cool. Sweet. Well, have a good day at work, and we'll catch up later.
Awesome, man. You have a great day.
You too. Catch you later.
Peace.